You are viewing Wisdom Keys for Focusing on Your Passion. And LaunchPad Consultancy, in collaboration with VisionWorks Solutions, bring to you Book Club Conversations Series 3. And in the series, entrepreneurs and professionals are reading the book, The Uncommon Dream, 31 Wisdom Keys for Focusing on the Passion of Your Heart, written by author Mike Murdoch. I am your host, Alina Lewis, and today's discussion takes a look at Chapter 3, entitled, The Uncommon Dream Will Require Uncommon Self-Confidence. Joining me this evening for discussion is Natasha Rampersad, owner of Infinity Creations, and Krista Collymore, owner of C Star Incorporated. Good evening, ladies. How are you?
Good evening.
Awesome. Evening. Ooh, that's excitement at its best. Whoa. I'm so sorry. But excited. Okay. So tell me, how has the reading of Chapter 3 been for you?
It's been a very engaging chapter for me, a chapter that I can most certainly identify with in my journey as an entrepreneur, most definitely.
Yeah. And Natasha, how has the Chapter 3 intro been? Because you got to join me yesterday and you're back today. How has the Chapter 3 been for you, even as you consider the progression from Chapter 2 into Chapter 3?
It's been really interesting for me because I see so many things that he mentions that I could, as she said, I could really identify with, especially as it relates to self-confidence.
Awesome. So even as we start that, we want to start on a high note, and we want to start off with our power quote. So Natasha, I'm jumping right back at you. What's your power quote for impact?
One of my power quotes that I took out of Chapter 3 is this: whatever you are thinking about will influence the atmosphere around you. And I find that really, really transforming for me, because it reminds me that I need to be aware of my thoughts, because it not only impacts me, but everyone around.
Yeah. And Krista, what would be your power quote? Whether it's from Chapter 3 or Chapter 3 sparked you to remember it, what would be your power quote for impact?
The thing that stood out to me most in Chapter 3 is the first key to self-confidence, knowing your assignment. Sometimes we find ourselves doing so many different things, but somehow God and life keeps bringing us back to what our assignment is.
I love that. And even as you mentioned that, Krista, it brings me to my first prompt that I want to bring to you ladies. And my question to you is, how did you discover your assignment and your dominant gift? Because the chapter talks about, at the beginning, like Krista mentioned, it talks about the assignment, understanding what is that vision, what you feel you're called to do on the earth, and the dominant gifts, the innate skill sets that you have that propels you towards fulfilling. So I can imagine there are many persons who are probably going to look at this video and they're probably not in business as yet. They're thinking it might be a good idea, but they're saying to themselves, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to choose or what direction to go. So as two entrepreneurs, how did you discover your assignment? Anybody first? Open conversation.
Well, for me, sorry, Ewan.
That's okay, go ahead.
For me, I started as a teacher, and I'm still a teacher, but it's also in the area of art, because I'm an art teacher, but my internal passion and my business is centered on visual art. The name is Infinity Creations.
Yes.
But I came upon discovering that in stages, because it started with teaching, and then I discovered my love and passion for art grew. And I think I am in the stage of realizing that it goes beyond the boundaries of teaching art in a classroom, in a school. It goes even beyond that into impacting society, adults, in a social media forum, in in workshops and many other places. And I'm not just limited to what I have to teach as in a curriculum, but I can take the principles there and combine it with the message of God and creativity. And I can now impact in that arena. And that's what the Infinity Creations is all about. So that's how I discovered my passion.
So what you're saying, Natasha, is that for you, discovering your assignment and or what you do
Mhm.
as a progression of paying attention to what you personally were passionate about and recognizing
Mhm.
that there is a need for that thing that you're passionate about.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
And
Yes.
Krista, when you think about discovering your assignment, what was that experience like for you when you were in that stage of a budding entrepreneur wanting to step out on your own?
Well, just like Natasha, my first profession, my first love is an educator. I used to teach music at my church since I was about 15 years. I grew up in a musical family. My mother was a teacher. My father was a musician. My father wanted me to be a doctor. My mother wanted me to be a teacher. I
Yeah.
went against both of them at first. I'm like, you know what? No doctor, no teacher. I'm going to do business.
Right.
And somehow, in starting, I started at USC in marketing management, and somehow I was led back to music education. So they were kind of both happy because one was a musician, one was a teacher. No, she's a music teacher. Okay, cool. We could live with that. My life has evolved at such where I have maintained being an educator. I am an entrepreneur. I am into business consultancy and branding and marketing, but I am still an educator. I educate others as to how to take their business to the next level. When I was in music, I was one of the facilitators that would teach teachers how to teach certain things in the music curriculum. So I have noticed that my assignment is to be an educator, whether it be in music, whether it be in business. My job on this earth is to educate others, and it's something that comes so naturally to me that I have taken for granted, but I have now found my purpose and I'm living it.
I love that because what I'm pulling from what you're saying as well, Krista, is that you were able not just to recognize a passion, but I think if I heard you correctly, what you're communicating is that you recognize how your environment shaped you because you started off talking about your mom and your dad, and even though you try to go in this direction, you end up back and you found your middle ground. So I think even as we listen to both you ladies, we could really take away the fact that both passion and environment are two major factors that budding entrepreneurs can use in order to determine that sense of assignment, because there is a space for instinct, the thing that comes naturally, the things that come effortlessly, the thing that you desire to do and you can't explain why, but oh boy, it makes you feel good on the inside. It's just in you, but then your environment can also shape you. And I love that. And I want to touch on dominant gifts because you can have a sense of the assignment, but then there's a space for recognizing the gifts or the skill sets that are on the inside to be able to support the fulfillment of that assignment, the vision, the thing that you want to do in your business, or the giftings needed to expand or relaunch. So, Krista, I'm coming back to you to chat about those dominant gifts. I'm interested in finding out from you, one, how did you discover it? And beyond that, how, as an entrepreneur now in 2020, are you sharpening it? And of course, Natasha, I'm going to ask you the same thing too. Discovery and sharpening.
Okay. In my case, I strayed away from being an educator so many times because I was fighting it because nature again. I was a daddy's girl. So everybody was convinced that I was going to do whatever daddy was doing. I wasn't that close with my mother. And I kept fighting like, no, I can't be a teacher like my mother. I can't be a teacher like my mother. I went to marketing, I went to graphic design, and every single time I came right back to education. I came right back to being an educator. So I've realized that that is my dominant gift. being an educator, imparting knowledge to children, to adults. I have sharpened it over the years. I'm still a music teacher at my core. I still run my music school, but I have diversified my gift of being an educator in different fields. And I think that is how I have sharpened it. I have noticed that I have the ability to not only stick to music, but hey, I can help you, in a corporate environment as well. I can help you train. I can help you evolve. So I would say that that is how I've recognized my dominant gift as an educator, and I've sharpened it by diversifying it and perfecting my craft really, and staying on top of things, staying on top of trends, remaining relevant, remaining current. Yeah.
So for you, your approach to sharpening is more of an experiential approach where you jump in and you do to be sharpened. And that has been your approach as you've gone along the journey. I understand. And Natasha, for you, how did you discover your dominant gifts, even as you consider your readings in the book? And how are you in this COVID recovery world sharpening those gifts?
Well, I have discovered after being in the education system for over 10 years, a really long time, that my dominant gift is teaching, but I've also discovered at the same time that almost on an equal level is my gift of creativity. And because I have almost like an equal passion to create, but also at the same time to nurture and mentor others and train them how to grow in how to create and different aspects of creativity itself. So it's like I've married the two. And in this season of the pandemic, I have been studying, I have been reading, I have been writing. I've also tried new different techniques and different skills, because one of the quotes in the book that I really, really was like, aha, for me, was when he said that we need to be the one who has the most we need to be confident about our chosen subject
Yes.
more than others around us, and that, being in that place mentally and internally generates self-confidence in yourself, and it's contagious to others. And it reminded me that I need to keep learning, both in teaching, in how to train others, how to mentor others, but also in my creative gift and learning new skills, new materials, because it's the world itself is evolving so rapidly. So I have dedicated time, and in my schedule, try different things, learn different things, come up with a new way, because writing for me was something that I have not normally done. It was more on a personal level, but I started to write in terms of teaching others so that that could continue on in the future.
Yeah. Two things that stand out to me then, Tasha. One, I smiled because I heard you say the season of the pandemic. And I said, oh, yes, what a way. What a way to look at it. The season
It's a
of
season.
the
It's not
pandemic.
permanent.
Because
Yes,
it's been a rough year for a lot of
yes,
people. It's been an unexpected
yes,
year,
yes,
an unlikely year, a challenging year. And
yes.
we're still going through it. For those of us who work in education, the physical doors to our schools, at least primary and secondary, are still closed. It's a lot. Income for a lot of people is strained. Let's be real. It's strained. Ugh.
It is definitely the
But
students
I
and
like that,
yes.
the season of the pandemic, because it really does remind us that it will not last forever.
No, no,
But this
yes,
is an
absolutely not.
opportunity to retool and upskill. So,
Yes,
even for those who would look at this video, as we discussed chapter 3 of the Uncommon Dream by Mike Murdoch, we want to encourage you to take a moment, whenever you're looking at this, take a moment to ask yourself, how am I upskilling? How am I retooling? Take a moment to ask yourself, have I defined my assignment? Have I identified my dominant gifts, the instincts and things that are on the inside that would contribute to the skills that are needed to move forward so that we could do so with confidence? But my next question I want to ask you, ladies, is the entire chapter is about self-confidence. And I want to know, have you ever had a time where self-confidence was a challenge? And if yes, how did you overcome, or what are you doing to overcome if it's still something you're dealing with? So, did you have a time? Have you ever had a time where self confidence was a challenge? And of course, this question is so pertinent because the challenge associated with confidence really feeds into the fear factors that so many entrepreneurs go through as it pertains to launching, expanding, rebranding, or sometimes just the confidence to continue the journey amidst challenging times. So, talk to me, ladies. Self confidence, has it ever been a challenge? And how have you overcome? What are you doing to overcome?
It has been
Anybody?
a challenge for me when I just started as a musician publicly as a music teacher. I think it's important to have, and the chapter speaks about it as well, mentors in your corner who are there to encourage you. When I was about 15, I was asked to play trumpet at a national function. And in playing, something that can happen when you play the trumpet, something we call your lipping, it goes. So basically, no matter how hard you try to play, no song will come up. And that happened to me on the stage on a national function. And my father was backstage, and he quickly picked up his trumpet and he started to play the song in the back at backstage. So I was just miming while he was playing, and I came off the stage and I cried and I cried and I cried. But I was so thankful that someone was there to, to cover
Yes.
me and to help me to understand that it's not only going to be highs, it's not only going to be successes. There are going to be lows, there are going to be failures, there are going to be times that you feel like giving up. And the important thing is that you work through those feelings, those emotions, and you get up again and you continue. Because if it's your passion, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you are going to get up one more time and try it again, see what you could do differently to make it work or to make it better at this time. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is great is when you have those mentors in your corner, they're able to speak wisdom to you. So you're
They
not
are.
just falling the same way for the same reason in the same place. But when you have that circle of counselors, I think the book phrases it as, they're able to speak into you, to guide you. So they're not just hyping you and motivating you, but they're helping you to learn and understand how to make better decisions or how to improve your skill sets. So definitely, yeah, Krista, that mentor circle is so important. Natasha, what about you?
I have experienced lack of self-confidence actually for um, I would say a period of a couple of years with the nature of my artwork, because personally my convictions are of a Christian and I create prophetic art. That's the nature of my personal artwork. And so I was never comfortable to create just regular fine art as everybody else would create. And because it was so different compared to 99% of the artwork that is present in the public arena, I've always struggled with presenting my prophetic art that many people cannot relate to, cannot understand immediately, unless they're also in that Christian circle. And that is one area that I have had to develop my self confidence. And it has grown because I connected with some other friends that I have that also create prophetic art, and seeing their response and even the response of people around me in churches, and then even in Facebook when I post some of them, the comments, I understand that even though I may not be confident of what I present, that there are people who are waiting for it, who need it. And it
Yeah.
also reminded me that not everybody would be the ideal market in a sense for what I
Yes.
have to offer. So I need to know
Definitely
who you
not.
are. And in that sense, then there is no need for lack of self-confidence if I stay focused on this is what I have, and there are people who need it, and I just need to connect those two.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
but
want to
I
give
want to give that.
acknowledgement to the point that you made about the reinforcement, the positive reinforcement, and really encourage those who are going to be looking at this video that it is so important to find like-minded people.
Yes.
Because even as we reflected from chapter 1 and chapter 2, you don't want to breed your vision into people who don't support what you do, who don't
No,
understand your vision, who, yeah, we spoke about this as well yesterday,
that's right.
Natasha.
Yes.
To be careful about who you share with, and that includes not just being careful, but also being mindful to connect yourself with
Yes.
people who are minded. So their passion for that similar thing can spur passion within you and help you build confidence, because all of a sudden you don't continue to feel as though you are the only one. But definitely,
Yeah.
my last prompt for you ladies has to do with the book talked about the steps, the keys to unleashing your self confidence, and they listed, I believe it was seven. So yeah, seven steps to unlock your self-confidence. And my question is, are there any in there that stands out to you in this, and I'll use Natasha's word, season? Are there any of those steps that stand out to you now that you are saying, wow, as I read this in chapter 3, I'm encouraged in my particular experience right now? Any thoughts? While you ladies think, though, just for the viewing audience, I want to mention the steps that the books mention that can unlock your self confidence is recognizing that your creator wants good things for you, that you should verify that your dream is not contrary to the laws of God or man, that you should fill every conversation with faith talk about your dream. You should pursue access of those whose fire burns brighter than your own. Remember that your own dream is a special seed you are sowing into the heart of others. You should remember that the dream may intimidate those close to you and make them feel uncomfortable, but you should also remember to keep your fire fueled. So even as we consider those 7 points, are there any that stands out to any of you ladies in this November 2020? What stands out to you in this time now?
For me, definitely, point 7 would be one. Keep your fire fueled.
Yeah,
It says fertilize your own dreams, talk about them, build on them. Um, to me, that's important because there are many situations that could happen around us, even with the business, with family, with everything else about
yeah,
life. But it's important that our dream, which is inside of us, we keep it fueled in spite of these contrary situations, because nobody else is going to keep it fueled for you. Nobody else is going to have that passion and that drive for you to pursue your dreams. So keeping it fueled and having that tenacity and that mindset to just keep moving forward, no matter what happens, will definitely help to ensure success. It may not happen at the same time, but
yeah,
it will come. So
yeah,
definitely that really stood out to me. Yeah.
yeah. And Krista?
For me, I can't recall what number it was, but the one about speaking words of faith, into your dream. Our words are so important. Our words have power. And with COVID, I have really learned how to change my mindset, change the way I think, change the things that I say, the things that I proclaim in my life. And since then,
Yes.
I've been proclaiming positivity and speaking in faith about things that are going to happen, and they have manifested themselves, as well as number 7, just as Natasha, keeping that fuel and that fire. When you are excited about what you do, then others are excited as well, and others want to be a part of what you are doing. To say, Natasha, I'm really inspired by what you do as a VAPA teacher, educator. I understand how hard we have fought to make sure VAPA has a place in the curriculum. So please keep going. All right.
I will, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I just want to highlight the point that says, remember your dream is a special seed that you have that comes from you. And I just wanted to highlight that point because I think a lot of times it's easy to forget that our uniqueness is what makes us great. And so sometimes it's so easy, whether it's a newbie, a budding entrepreneur now looking to get in, or someone wanting to expand. It's easy to discount what you're about to do because maybe nobody has done it like that before. But maybe that's why you're here on this earth. Maybe that's why you have your particular combination of experiences and qualification and passion to be that voice, to be that creator. So, I just want to encourage those who are looking on, don't be intimidated to unleash the dream that is within you. And even now, we want to get into wisdom quotes for transformation. What is your wisdom quote for transformation? That thing that you're taking out of this, not wisdom quote, but wisdom for transformation. That understanding that you're taking away from chapter 3, that tonight or tomorrow you're going to do differently.
Well, for me, I want to go back to one of the points I mentioned earlier when you said whatever you are thinking about will influence the atmosphere around you, because I could see that being applicable not only for my dream but in everything else. And it reminds me that I need to keep a positive mindset in any situation, be it in business, in personal relationships, and anything around me. So if we all develop a positive mindset, it will not only help us but even those around us. So I think that's the wisdom key that I'm taking away from this.
Yeah,
And
great. And
taking that.
Krista? Sure, thank you.
This the point that speaks about discerning the circle of counsel to help you achieve your dream. We've heard it so many times in so many different ways. Your network is your net worth. Make sure that the persons that you surround yourselves with are like-minded, not only on your level, but are on levels higher than you, so that they can help you to reach higher. Because if everyone is on the same level, then we aren't going anywhere, right? So make sure that, we have a mix, a balance of persons who are superior to us in whatever fields that we may be in, that can inspire us, that could guide us on that journey, and also invest in time in creating that dream wall and creating pictures of your dream. If you guys look behind me, that's actually my vision board. So I see that every day when I'm in my office, and it reminds me of the things that I am trying to achieve through my dream and through my passion. So that would be my wisdom that I would have taken out of this chapter.
Definitely. And, I really want to encourage people to remember the importance where at the end of the chapter, it talks about developing the magnet within you. And I love that point because it talks about stirring on the inside to draw to you. I know for tonight, rather, we use the word manifestations. We want we want to draw to us the things that we need. And sometimes what we need could be money. But a lot of times, what we need is not money. A lot of times, we need partnership. Sometimes we need provision. Sometimes we need a listening ear. Sometimes we need favor. There are many things that we need that might not be financially driven. And we want to be able to draw all of those things to us. So working on developing that magnet through positive affirmations by reaching out, doing effective and meaningful networking and positioning yourself to thrive, that's huge. And I just want to encourage people to keep that in mind. So even as we close off this evening conversation, Natasha, Krista, could you just take a quick minute and let our viewing audience and those who are going to look on the replay just get a reminder of your business, what you do, and how they could get in contact with you? Anybody,
Sure.
any order?
So Infinity Creations, TC, is an art-based business, and we provide paintings, portraits, and prophetic art services, as well as teaching sessions or workshop sessions.
And how can persons follow Infinity Creations or get in touch with?
Right, my contact is 1-868-736-6938. There's also a Facebook page, Infinity Creations TT, and on Instagram, it's Infinity Creations TT.
Awesome. And Krista?
Okay, so I am the owner of C-Star Incorporated. We deal with business consultancy. We specialize in branding. We can be reached at C-Star Celebrity everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, C-Star Celebrity. If need be, I can be contacted at 1-868-783-3368.
Yeah, and to learn more about the organizers of this series 3 of the book club conversations, feel free to visit online at caribbeanservicenetwork.com. Until tomorrow, read up chapter 4, those of you who are going to be tuning in, because we're going to be in for another dynamic conversation. Have a good night, everybody.